Hello Internet, I'm Kyle and today I'll be explaining the basics of character development. So you writers and actors out there can ultimately make your characters more convincing and interesting for the audience. When creating a character, it's important to first imagine them as not merely a flat individual, but rather a living, thinking individual, who is conscious of their own scenario, or rather the aspects of their scenario that they realistically know from their perspective. This known scenario is based on the character's past experiences, the relationships they have with other characters, their unique way of perceiving meaning from these encounters on a psychological level, their active experiences and how they react to them, and finally, their goals and apprehensions towards the future. Once the combination of knowledge is achieved within the mind, you can then say your character has achieved a level of consciousness. It is through this perceived consciousness that you can then intuitively develop the character further by delving into their mind and making decisions based on the character's psychological perspective. The tricky part here is that this psychological perspective needs to be constantly shifting as the character interacts with the world and other characters. And just like our conscious character, these other characters should also show a breath of life that makes them realistic. You can then imagine how insane working with characters then becomes as each affects one another, and their consciousnesses collide and shift to create new, exciting turns in the narrative. Of course, you do this by delving into the multiple perspectives of all of the characters in the scene. For example, this is Mike, who just nailed a job interview. He's feeling pretty proud of himself right about now. However, when we introduce Becky, whose dog just got put down, Mike's attitude may shift towards sympathizing with her situation, and away from his own. This sympathy, in turn, affects Becky's attitude to shift from sadness to a more neutral acceptance of her situation. They then kiss and go to their home together. Oh yeah, they're married. I forgot to tell you that. Haha. I neglected to tell you their relationship because this brings up a vital point concerning inclusiveness of the audience. It's not enough to simply perceive the situation from the perspective of your characters. You must instead be striving to get the audience to see from this perspective by providing information that will allow them to do so. In the example, the dog actually belongs to both of the characters, as they're married. So this reaction of Mike actually helps to characterize his emotional fortitude as he himself does not outwardly despair from the dog's death. Instead, he makes the decision to console his wife. Withholding their marital status from you change the context of the situation. You must include your audience in essential details or risk conveying a different meaning than you intended. So there you have it. In conclusion, when building a character, you must focus on their consciousness, relationships, how their character shifts, and how you're going to include that understanding of all of those aspects to your audience. I hope you enjoyed this video. In about 7 seconds, there will be a picture of different character traits to consider. This is Kyle, signing off.